Yeah, hello and welcome to another update video about Solana. Solana is currently coming down in line with my primary expectation. I'm just watching here the weekly candle, just a couple of hours before the weekly candle close, and it's getting larger and larger. It's nearly back to the lowest point this week. As you can see, it's a huge red candle, and we already saw it here last week. You had this candle with a long wick to the upside, potential reversal here last week, and this week the continuation was happening, coming back into that red target area that we talked about back in November. You have come down all the way here. Then we obviously found the low here at $82, came then up all the way into the yellow target area. That was confirmed. That went in line with expectations, and now we are moving down again in line with my primary expectation. It would have had space here all the way up to $141. In an ideal case, I think the ideal target was 128. It did get all the way up to, I think, 121 or something. So yeah, few dollars difference, but that was just the ideal target based on Fibonacci levels. Didn't even get there. That's probably how weak the chart was. Few negative news about Solana as well. As they have probably, as it seems, really focused on speed first, make a lot of gains, focused on speed first, and it suffered a little bit in terms of security. But that's just as a side note. The sentiment is changing for Solana a little bit to the downside at the moment. But we talked about this price a couple of months ago, and that's always what I mean. You often see, you can see things in the chart sometimes that then later, when this sentiment shift based on the edit wave method, that can help us understand that. When then the sentiment shifts, then a lot of these news are coming out, right? I remember when we were still here in this bull run here, and we had the network failure. I think that was here back in September. Yes, it did affect Solana, but in the end, it was just a wave 4. It was just a wave 4, and we pushed still higher. And that's what I mean. And that was just a wave 5. So you started your correction like magic. And now people blame it on the issues of the Solana blockchain. But where I would argue all of this is just typical market behavior, just normal market behavior. We talked about these price levels here. And yes, certainly news can then determine, I think, to a certain degree, if the price is stopping at $100, which was here the highest level of the target area. Originally, it was at 130, but obviously that broke, so it was reduced down then as we reacted to the price moves. But yeah, 130 would have been the most bullish scenario, but even 130 seemed crazy when we were up here at $260, right? So even for that, I was called too bearish back then, but there you go. Now we are moving down further, and developments like that can then obviously influence, does the price hit 130, does it hit 100, or does it all go down all the way to $55? And I think we are going down here lower, but obviously it's not confirmed yet. But nevertheless, that weekly candle, that sort of engulfing candle, which really engulfs here the previous price action, that can already give us an outlook for next week. Just made a Bitcoin video, and really next week will be an interesting week. A lot of things happening in the political, geopolitical sphere, with Ukraine, Russia, the USA, and so on. Everybody's involved, it seems. Hopefully it will all end well. But yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty, and uncertainty is never good for the market. So we can expect some volatility there. Even though at the moment it seems like the markets are pretty much moving sideways, just waiting what's going to happen, yeah. But as soon as something is happening, you can expect some movement. Also tomorrow there is this special Fed meeting where they might actually talk about interest rates. I think they will, but they might increase them, yeah. And whatever is priced, I can't tell you what's priced in, what the market expects as a whole. I think the market expects actually a slight increase. So if that happens, I think we won't see too much, but we will probably see some volatility. And it depends. If the rates will not be increased, I think we can see some upside. So expect some volatility tomorrow, certainly. But just want to point your view towards that engulfing candle here on the 4-day, or that's actually on the 4-day chart, not the weekly. This is the weekly. So on the 4-day, it's an engulfing one. On the weekly here, just didn't realize I looked at the 4-day chart, but on the weekly as well. Yeah, you can see here this strong move down. But the 4-day chart is a very meaningful one. Just to go back to that 4-day chart, the 4-day chart as well. What I wanted to have a look anyway. The RSI is still in the bearish range. You know, making lower lows here, making lower highs. No sign of a reversal here at the moment. And as I said, on the weekly as well, you see a huge red candle here, pretty much at the beginning of last week's candle. And also here, there is still further room for price drops, and the weekly MACD as well, not reversing yet to the upside. Yeah, and we even have just now a bearish crossover. So for Solana, I think it's not looking good. And we're, to be fair, not too far away from my previous, from the previous low that we looked at here, $82. So yeah, but there is a opportunity for Solana to find support here and then move higher. So I mean, I've got it counted here at the moment as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside, where the wave 5 would then push even lower than $82. Yeah, that should then hopefully be it with a correction. That is at least my target area. We talked about it before, that it could even go down to 30, because we are still at a fairly high level compared to where other cryptos are. So if I draw the fibs, I just want to warn you before, we talked about it before, but in terms of the Fibonacci levels here, this $55 level is only the 0.786 fib level. You know that for many cryptos, I actually talk about the 88.7 fib level and the 78.6 as target level. So, you know, it could even come down to 30. It's just that 30 for Solana seems just so crazy. So I haven't really had it on the chart, but we talked about it before. And depending on how strong really the reaction of the market will be to potentially the Fed meeting, and if any sort of political disaster is going to happen, which is not too unrealistic actually, then you could here see some further downside. But that might just be a short wick to the downside. That's why I find it so important to set buy orders, you know. But yeah, it has a potential to find support here, because then we could count it differently. We could potentially count this as a beginning then of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how you would get out of here, and could then yeah, start a move up, right? But to find support here, obviously we've got the fib levels again. We take the fib levels of this wave and we look at where the price is landing. And we can, if we make it more accurate, you can actually see that the price is approaching the 0.786 fib level at 89.91. I think we should definitely see that next, 89.90, or pretty much $90. And if we lose that, you can find the price at 85.74. And if, you know, these are the two key levels where I would expect to find support, where the price still has a chance to move higher. In an ideal case, in this scenario to the upside, we shouldn't get down to 81, but it will be invalidated below the low. So below the, yeah, actually $81 level, that would be invalidated. And if we drop below $81, then we can with some certainty expect here the $55 level, with primary expectation would still be that we're coming down lower here, especially as we are still in this descending channel. And the move up that we did here was, to be honest, not particularly strong. So yeah, Solana is not performing too well at the moment. It's also dropped on CoinMarketCap, but as I said, the next major wave up should take us to at least $650. That is what I would expect, yeah, based on the Fibonacci levels and price targets for the next wave 3, which should be the next one. But yeah, it's dropped here on CoinMarketCap behind Cardano again. By the way, Cardano and Solana were both overtaken by Ripple XRP here a few days ago. I think it actually happened this week. So yeah, it's quite interesting. But you know, these shift and move around, so it's not, that doesn't really have any meaning. You know, Cardano is not a worse project just because it was overtaken by XRP. Same with Solana. All projects here still have room for improvement. They all have stuff that they have to fix, you know. There is no perfect blockchain. I think that is what we can agree on. There is no perfect project, and yeah, it's looking interesting at the moment. All right, so hopefully you liked the update about Solana. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe. And if you like the content a lot, then maybe consider to join as a channel member. You can do that in the on my website, and for that you can find a link in the description, or you can do it here on YouTube, and then you can join a great community on Telegram, Discord, and you can also join a weekly live stream. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.